In this video, I'm going to talk about soil pH. What is it? How do you measure it? And if it's not perfect, should you change the soil pH? And how do you go about doing that? But before I get into this, I couldn't help myself. I had to bring in one of my orchid friends here. Now, I've been growing orchids for over 30 years, and I have about 10 of these phals in the house. And every year they make a nice spike and they flower. I mean, these plants are so easy to take care of if you follow my methods. But a year ago, I did a review of the fertilization suggestions for orchids. And I looked at the literature. And what it told me was that we were actually under-fertilizing orchids. This advice of doing weekly, that's nonsense. It's not right. So about a year ago, I started fertilizing more. I started treating these guys like regular houseplants. I'm seeing more leaves on the plants, and this year, all of my spikes are in doubles and triples and lots of side branches. This plant has one large spike with 3 side branches. I've already taken a couple of the side branches off because it was just going to get too crowded. Anyways, I have a video all about that. If you want more flowers in your orchids, have a look at that, and I'll put a link to it at the end of this one. Anyways, back to soil pH. What is soil pH? Well, the first interesting part is that soil really doesn't have a pH. When we're talking about soil pH, what we're really talking about is the pH of the water in the soil. We represent that pH on a number system that goes from 0 to 14. 0 is extremely acidic, 7 is neutral, and 14 is very alkaline. Now in soils, we never get to those extremes. Soil is usually somewhere around 4 to 9, maybe 10-ish. And in fact, most garden soil doesn't even have that big a range. What's important to understand with pH is that this is a log scale. That's a mathematical term which you might remember from high school. But what it says is that each 1 unit of pH is actually 10 units. So if we have a pH of 7 and we change that pH to 6, it sounds as if we've made a jump of 1 unit, but we've actually made a jump of 10. So why is that important? Well, what it means is that when you measure pH, you have to know it down to at least 1 decimal point to be of any value. Knowing that your pH is 6 or 7 doesn't really tell you a whole lot. It gives you a ballpark figure. But if you're interested in adjusting the pH, you need it more accurate. You need it to 1 decimal point. All right, so how do you measure pH? Well, there's a couple tools you can use. A lot of garden centers will sell you a meter like this, and it has a pH reading up here. The problem with these is that they're very inaccurate, and at best you'll get whole numbers. It might tell you whether you're a 6 or a 5, but it doesn't give you any of the decimal points, so it's really not much use. You can also use kits like these. These generally measure nutrients, so the NPK of your soil, and at the same time I'll also do one for pH. Again, the accuracy of these are not very good. They'll give you a rough idea, but you really can't use the numbers from these to adjust your soil pH. Okay. A third option is something that gardeners tend to call litmus paper. Now, it's not litmus paper. Litmus paper would be useless for soil. Litmus paper are these small paper strips, and they change color, either pink or blue, either acidic or alkaline. They give you no numbers. But there are some test strips which are more accurate. They generally have several different colored squares on them, and they do a different range. Those are a little better, but only if you buy the right ones. You want one with a very narrow range. So you want one that goes from pH 5 to say 8. And it has to have at least 3 color spots on the strip. That's the only way you'll get any kind of accuracy. And at best, you're going to be sort of a half pH unit. So it's still not good enough for adjusting pH. The best way to get the pH of your soil is to send a sample to a lab and let them do it, and you'll get an accurate value. Now, there's another way you can do this. Talk to some other gardeners in the area, particularly older gardeners who've been gardening for a long time. They'll know roughly what the pH of your soil is. And I've actually had my soil tested, so I know I'm about a 7.4. So if you find a gardener in the area, they'll have some idea what the pH is in that local area. That will give you a rough idea, but again, it's not very useful for adjusting pH. If you want to do that, you really need to know the accurate value. So what pH do plants want? Well, it turns out that plants really don't care about the actual pH of the soil, not directly at least. The issue with pH is that the pH affects the nutrients that are available in the soil. So if my soil is on the alkaline side, the calcium and the iron combine and precipitate. So plants now have a really hard time getting enough iron. That's why acid-loving plants don't grow in alkaline soil. It's not the actual pH that's the problem, it's a lack of iron. And you see that in the leaves as intraveinal chlorosis, that yellowing between the veins. Now, if the soil is too acidic, we have other problems with nutrients. In acidic soil, the phosphate and the aluminum precipitate. The amount of available aluminum in soil drops, and plants can't get enough aluminum, so they don't grow well. So the problem with pH is not so much the pH, but it's the nutrients that are available to plants. Now, most plants grow really well between 6 and 7. If we extend that a bit from, say, 5.5 to 7.5, we still have a very good pH range, and most things will grow in that range. But 6 to 7 is the sweet spot for plants. So should you adjust your soil pH? Well, before I answer that, let me discuss a few other points. The first one is that the pH of your soil is based on the type of rocks you have in that soil. Both the rocks that are there now and the ones that were there historically. The soil creation in your garden has been taking place over millions of years. It's a slow process, and rocks are slowly degrading and forming that soil. This is a really slow process, and it's really hard to change the pH of that soil. It's quite surprising that gardeners think that they can just come along and throw some stuff in the soil and the pH is magically different. Now, it does change for a short while, but nature will always make that pH go back to what it should be, based on your soil and the rocks you have in that location. So it's very hard to change pH. It's not a one-time thing. So once you start, it becomes a yearly activity that you have to do consistently to keep the pH where you want it. Nature's going to win in the end. A second point is that when we measure the pH of soil, we're talking about all of the soil. But plants only care about the pH around their roots. This is a special area called the rhizosphere. And I've made a separate video about that. It's really interesting if you want to know more about how plant roots grow. And I'll put a link to that at the end of this video. The pH in the rhizosphere, that area around the roots, can be as much as 2 pH units different than what you measure in the soil. So my soil here is a 7.4, but my plants can condition that soil so that the pH around the roots is actually more like 5.5. And the plants control that. So if they prefer a 5.5, they'll make that. If they prefer a 6, they'll be growing in a 6. So even though your pH is not perfect, the plants adjust it to their own needs. Another thing that affects pH is compost. And if you've been adding compost to the soil, that compost acts like a buffer. Compost doesn't really change the pH of the soil very much, but it does tend to make the soil behave as if it's closer to a pH of 7. So compost always helps neutralize those extremes of pH in your soil. So back to the question, should you change the pH of your soil? My recommendation is that if your pH is between 8 and 5.5, don't try to adjust the soil. Pick plants that grow in your soil. It's a whole lot easier and you'll be much happier than trying to change the pH. Now, if you're outside of those extremes, then there is some value in adjusting that pH. And if you really insist on growing certain plants and they need a specific pH, then you'll also have to adjust that. Now, this works much better in containers or in small raised beds where you have a small amount of soil you can adjust. So now let's have a look at how you actually do change soil pH. So let's assume your pH is too acidic and you want to raise the pH. The common suggestion is that you add some lime to the soil, and that does work. But there's a catch. Most of the information online will tell you how much lime to add based on your pH. It doesn't work like that. your soil has a natural buffering capability. What that means is that if I take a little bit of lime and put it on the soil, pH won't change. I put a little more on, pH won't change. I put a little bit more on, and suddenly it changes. The buffering capacity of that soil means that you have to add a certain amount before you see any change. And the problem is you don't know how much to add. Now, if you get a proper soil test done, they will actually measure something called the buffer pH. And then they'll tell you which type of lime to use and how much. And that's the value of getting a real soil test. If you don't do that, then all you can do is add some lime, wait a while, measure it again, add some more lime, wait a while, measure it again, and hope you don't add too much and that you add enough by the time you want to plant. The other complication is that there are different types of lime, and you should match that to the nutrients in your soil. So for instance, if you have too much magnesium already in your soil, you don't want to use a lime that has more magnesium in it. You get one that has calcium. Again, you won't know that unless you've got a soil test done. So adding any kind of lime does work, but to add the right lime in the right amount, you'll have to get a soil test done. So what if your soil is alkaline and you want to lower the pH? Well, the first thing to understand is the soil is alkaline because you have rock in there. In my case, I have a lot of limestone in my soil. And the rain that comes down has a pH of about 5.5. That's fairly acidic. And it degrades, it dissolves that limestone. And by doing that, you neutralize the acidity. And even though nature keeps adding acid rain to my garden is still 7.4. So what that tells us is that it's really difficult to make alkaline soil more acidic. In most cases, you're better off not doing that. Now, if you do want to try to do that, you can use agricultural sulfur. Now, some people suggest using aluminum sulfate. I wouldn't do that because aluminum levels can become toxic to plants. Use straight agricultural sulfur, put some on the soil, mix it in. Sulfur takes a while to react, so it's going to take a couple months for the pH to start dropping. And you're going to have to do this on an annual basis. Add sulfur every year. As soon as you stop adding it, the pH will go right back up again. That's one of the reasons we recommend not changing the pH unless you really have to. Now, I do have a couple of striped bark maples which want acidic soil, and they just don't grow well at 7.4. The leaves get this intraveinoclerosis problem. So what I've been doing is putting some sulfur around their root system and digging it in each year, and that solves the problem. But as soon as I stop that, I'm going to have the problem again. I really shouldn't be growing that plant. Grow things that grow in your soil, and then forget the pH. If you want to learn more about soil pH or any other topic about soil, have a look at my book, Soil Science for Gardeners. I'll also put a link to some of my other soil videos in the top right-hand corner. Soil is the most important thing for plants, and gardeners really do have to understand it better. Happy gardening.